everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Cassandra Enlow with Create Campaign, Director of Programs and Partnerships, and I want to thank you all for joining us tonight with our My Startup Story featuring none other than Jeremy Snyder of Local Flavor. Can we give him a round of applause, please?
Thank you.
And the first thing I want to ask you, Jeremy, is what is your earliest memory of food being just something that is more than a meal, something that can really bring people together? What was your passion for it?
My grandma probably kicked it off. I lived with my grandma until I was 8, and holidays were a big thing. I was the only young kid left. All of her kids, so my aunts and uncles had moved away, so it was a big deal when anybody came back. And I just remember pulling the drawers out so that I could step on them and get up on the counter. And we had a garden. We had an orchard there, kind of. We had pecans, apples, pears, peaches, everything. So all spring and summer we were working the garden, and then we would do canning and pickling and everything to.
Do you know how to grow food still?
My father-in-law is the one that actually does all that in the family. So we do keep gardens and stuff, but I don't have a very green thumb. I'll cook it, but and I do like picking all the veggies and stuff. It's really nice.
So what has been one of your biggest influences when it's come to your food journey, your entrepreneurial journey, things like that?
The family, for sure. Early in the food industry, I didn't receive a lot of credit because I came from the buffets. I came from the Golden Corrals, the Furs, the Hometown Buffet, sirloin sake, that kind of stuff. But those kitchens, there's almost every ingredient that you could imagine. We're putting out a dozen salads every day, and 2 dozen entrees every day, and 20 vegetables every day, and 50 desserts every single day. So if there were, I would go out of my way to make special things in the kitchen too and stuff. So it was nice having all the ingredients at my disposal wherever I went.
So starting a business in food can be risky. What gave you the courage? I know who gave you the courage, but what gave you the courage to go ahead and pursue this business?
We were in restaurants, and I was in restaurants, and I did take a detour. My first business that I started, I wrote the business plan in 2005 and got the funding in 2006, and I was working my way up through corporate restaurants, and I was a numbers guy. I'm still a numbers guy. So they would send me all the P&Ls to look at it. So I saw what all the stores and the whole company were spending on everything. And I saw a niche that I thought I could fill. I created a company that would go into restaurants at night. We would do the carpet cleaning, the tile cleaning, the hood exhaust cleaning, the pressure washing for the sidewalks and stuff. Everything that you need normally 3 or 4 different vendors to do in one night overnight. I created one where we could do it all in one night.
Like Monopoly kind of.
And I kind of cheated with my first business since I was with Furs. I proposed it to them before I even quit. And they even helped me and said, yeah, we can figure out which stores that you can do. So I walked into that service business with 50 accounts or so to begin with. So that helped out. But what I loved about restaurants was talking to people and the food and everything, and so I missed that. It was also third shift work, which is very difficult to hire for. I would trust people with $70,000 worth of equipment down in OKC or Dallas-Fort Worth area. It got really risky and stuff, so because of that, and because I wanted to get back to talking to people, I actually didn't need to get a loan for Broadway Burgers. I leveraged my assets from the first business and then asked for an interest-only loan for a year till we got it kicked off, which was great. So I borrowed $30,000 and only had to pay about $120 a month for 12 months. I suggest SBA loans just because, especially if you're a young entrepreneur, if it's your first business, it's going to be backed by the government for 80%. So even if you fail, you're not liable. Now, the difficult part of that is, compared to a conventional business loan, is they're going to make you do about 4 times the paperwork. And they're really going to make sure that you have everything set up. Other banks don't care if they can get the money in the end from you somehow. They make you put your house on the line. They make you put everything else that you own pretty much on the line for that. You don't have to do that with the SBA. And they make you do so many steps that you will have a solid business plan. You will have every license, certification, and everything you need because they force you to before they give you the funding. So it's almost a checklist on how to start a business too if you go the SBA route. So speaking of, how did you come up with the name Local Flavor? Like,
What was your thought behind that?
Oh, man.
Because I love the name.
Well, with Broadway Burgers, we had kind of maxed that out, and we had a few things that we wanted to do. My wife and I ran around with the brewers and at the breweries and stuff. We kind of grew up together. Wichita Brewing's production facility was a few blocks from Broadway Burgers, so they only need like 4 or 5 people to run their production, unless it's canning days, and they need like 20.
So, and then speaking of That's Mine, I know through our conversations you've told me that you've helped establish some of the other restaurants here in Wichita.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of them?
I have mentors and advisors that I've had for 20 plus years, whether it's with the bank or the SBA or the Kansas Restaurant Association. So they'll send people to me if they know that I have knowledge about a certain need that they have.
And speaking of the community, I know one thing I like about your restaurant in particular is just the different variety of entrees that you all have. I know there's Mexican, you have shrimp and grits, you have pozole, you have the wings and the thighs. How do you all weave your cultures? I know it's a mixed culture into your meals.
Yeah, we had a partial Mexican restaurant business plan. It was pretty natural. You know, I married my wife 20 years ago, and we have. That's you know, all the food that we ate at home was just absolutely wonderful. So authentic and stuff. Yeah.
They are.
Oh yeah.
Good job.
For her, between her and my mother-in-law, that's where all that comes from.
So just to FYI, you all have a chance to try their thighs again in your boxes that you'll take home with you. So just keep that in mind. What role do you see local flavor playing in celebrating Wichita's minority-owned businesses or helping to establish other businesses here?
Wow. Well, I like working with Create Campaign. We also work with Kansas Hispanic Development and Education Foundation and Power. A lot of people helped me when I got started, so I don't mind passing that on. So.
Can you tell us about a time when something didn't go as planned in your business and how you kind of overcame that?
Oh man, a ton of them. With the first service business, like I said, I had ins with a lot of the cafeterias. So I put all my eggs in one basket. I had a lot of the Golden Corrals, a lot of the Furs, a lot of the Ryans, and those were going downhill because they were a cafeteria and buffet. So within about 6 months, I had 2 chains, a franchise and then a corporate chain, declare bankruptcy. And I kind of saw it coming. I would bill them monthly. They started writing me out, and then it started to be a negotiation where, hey, you didn't pay me for 20 stores, and they would go, hey, we'll pay you for 10 if you'll go clean these 10. And then they dropped the bomb with the bankruptcy, and it left, you know, all the work's done, everything's already paid for, and all of a sudden I was out just tens of thousands of dollars. And that was very difficult. I knew I wanted to do more. I knew I couldn't just declare bankruptcy. That would probably been the easiest thing to do, but I wouldn't have ever been able to start a business, or at least not for a very long time.
And then speaking of your staff, you know, because again, I feel like that's a big part of your success. One thing I think when we were chit-chatting a few weeks ago, you had told me something about there is still success in failure.
Oh yeah.
I remember you told me that a while back. And so one of the questions that we asked is if somebody saw local flavor as being successful, what are some things that you would let them know that you really struggled with, you know, in order to get to that success? Because a lot of times they think that you can be instantly, you know, successful in the restaurant business. So
it takes a long time to turn a profit, and we had to sell Broadway Burgers and sell our house to be able to live until local flavor actually got going. 18 months is pretty good. 24 months, I think, is about average to you know, break even and actually start making a profit. And it took us probably 14 months or so to actually do enough sales for it to make sense. So we took nothing for almost a year and a half. So,
where do you hope that local flavor will be here in the next 5 years? I feel like you've already grown since we met you all.
We've got our off-premise liquor catering now because we had so many people ask us about liquor while we're there serving food, so we've been pushing that. We got our product line trademarked. That's a long process. That started almost a year ago. You trademark with the state, then you trademark nationally. We just got our national ones. Now we can put UPC labels on products. So we have rub, seasonings, white barbecue, all that getting ready to go out. So that'll be good.
For sale too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go into Spice Merchant, Wichita Wagyu, all things barbecue, and the big one's Ace. Ace Hardware
Okay.
keeps a big local section of like barbecue stuff, so that'll be big.
I like.
We do work with a lot of local artists and stuff. We have music all the time. This would be an expansion of that, kind of a live and local thing where you go dine.
Would it be late night?
Yeah, we would do music 6 to midnight,
Okay.
Thursday through Sunday.
Are you all thinking about recipe books?
Yeah. Because you can't have any kind of consistency without recipes and stuff. So we have recipes for everything. Our end game is getting land right outside of town where we could have a venue, where we could have weddings and music events and stuff, and have an orchard and a garden and a ranch and have farm to table everything. If we could source almost everything else from our own, have it from where you grow everything to where you feed the people with it, I think that would be really, really cool.
So beyond the business, what do you hope for your story in regards to inspiring other entrepreneurs? I know you're really, really big into business organization, but what do you want them to be inspired by your story, your future, where you see things heading?
I like bringing community together, and I think both of our restaurants have done that. We're not as many years into local, but at the end of Broadway Burgers, our regulars knew each other and would talk to each other and stuff. And we're getting that way there. And everybody feels comfortable coming and kicking it at local. It's a vibe. There's good people, there's good music, there's good food, there's good service. So that's what I like. We bring together all sorts of people at our restaurant, and everybody enjoys it and has good times.
If there is one flavor you could be remembered for, what is that?
Our whole menu isn't like a lot of other places.
It really
and it's funny, if anybody does have a complaint about their menu, that's it. They're like, what kind of restaurant are you? A barbecue? Are you a burger place? Are you a Mexican place? Like, yes, yes we are. I mean, we sure are, yeah. So diversity is definitely something that I think we've brought. So. Besides LA, we have the most restaurants per capita in the nation.
I did not know
that. Almost every corporate, if they have a store here, this is the test market, because if it makes it here, it can make it anywhere else. And if it doesn't make it here, it's not going to make it anywhere else. We have 1,400 restaurants for our 1,400 owner-operated restaurants here in Wichita.
Really?
Everybody's going to try to sell you services that you don't need, and and if you don't know, then it's really difficult to get a start, and that's why a lot of people fail. They're paying money for things that they don't really need to be spending money on. So if I can help, and that is my thing, I'm a numbers guy, so when it comes to getting people's EINs, their LLCs, their tax certificates, whatever I can do, those are things that take just minutes online to help somebody set up. And if they were to go to an association or whatever to have that done, I mean, and that's where the Small Business Development Center came in. That's where I learned to do all that, was because they provide something like that. So I don't mind passing that knowledge on at all. So
when you talked about, again, just that response to the question, and you sharing your story about sharing information and knowledge, you're right. Entrepreneurship is hard enough without people trying to prey on us. And so I really am walking away with, again, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And we got to lift up the people who are amazing, who are pouring out into our ecosystem. That's what is impressed upon me.
Thank you.
Who's next?
It really impressed upon me when you said during COVID you were the only one who interviewed who was positive.
Right.
And I think that sometimes it can be hard to be positive when everybody around you has all the reasons not to be positive. But the fact that you were, and it really worked out in your favor, is just a good reminder about how important that is.
I think I can add something on that too. You are your business's image.
Yeah.
And responding to critics and stuff online, or really anything, like me, since I'm in the restaurant business, I would never talk negative about any other restaurants, despite what I think of them, because it would look bad on me.
Right.
Not everybody's going to like your food. People have their own tastes and opinions, and nobody's perfect. We make mistakes in what we do. Other people's palates may not like what I present, but they can give me their opinion of my stuff without me reacting in a negative way.
I'm constantly amazed by Jeremy. I have the privilege of knowing them as friends, so you can find me at Local Flavor. I know I ran into you a couple times. So I think Jeremy is a prime example. I had a mentor early on in my real estate career tell me that when you love people, the business will come, and I think that he's a prime example of that. So. Yeah.
I'll say what I took from today. Like how Christina said, he is right in the very middle right now of his restaurant is open. But I feel like he brought some of his best staff here. I know don't tell them that there's some others that I would like here too. But the fact that he not only is so very accommodating to us every single time we call, it could be a last minute ask that we have of him, and where I would crumble and I would have an attitude and be like, Jeremy, don't, hold on. He is always just so willing to do whatever we ask for one. The way he divides not only his time to help his community, but then also pours that same back into his restaurant, I feel like is very admirable. And he's always so chill. I don't think I might have seen him sweat just a little bit, but I don't think I've ever seen him. He says he gets nervous. I've never seen him nervous.
Here. This is you could stick me in a full-blown restaurant with the line out the door, and I'm better than I am right now. So,
And that's the thing. I just love how he's always so calm. Again, even in the midst of like some chaos, in the midst of confusion, things that he's not really sure of, he's always willing to go above and beyond by being a self-starter. So say we're not set up yet, he'll find a way to make it work for us, for one. And then again, he really does a great job of dividing his time between his restaurant and the community. And again, he's always willing to come help serve. So that's one thing that I admire about him. So
thank you.
We want to give Jeremy one final round of applause.
Thank you.
We also want to thank his family and his staff for being here as well. It could not have been made possible without them. Also, especially the wife. We want to give her flowers as well. We want to thank you all so much for being out here, from Local Flavor staff to Create Campaign staff to Chase Me If You Can Productions to Christina, our president and CEO. Ooh, thank you. And again, to all of you all for spending your evening with us. Thank you all so much.